center of gravity in the world economy has changed, and that the powerful dynamic forces in the world economy are located in the developing world, and India is very much part of that, and that it offers us a number of lessons. And I think the lessons are that first of all, a country like India has identified a number of sectors where it sees possibilities for itself, and that it's moved ahead with mobilizing what needs to be done in order to make those sectors actually achieve their potential. And it's something like that which we're trying to achieve in South Africa through the Growth Path Strategy and the Industrial Policy Action Plan. So we've identified a number of areas where we think we can move forward, a number of instruments that we have at the disposal of government to try to take that further forward. But also we have taken the lesson that we need to diversify our trade and investment relationships, because as fellow developing countries, we are the new growth prospects in the world economy. I've said that already, everybody knows that, so everybody in the world is trying to develop and strengthen the relationships with the fast-growing economies of the developing world. But more than that is that we have the shared history as developing countries. And I think that that creates the possibility for us to structure new kinds of trading relationships which give a real effect to principles which are often enunciated in trade negotiations of equity, mutual benefit, complementarity and things like that. And what we're trying to do with India, and that's a conversation that Minister Sharma and myself will have later on today, is how do we take those principles further forward in concrete trade relationships between the Southern African Customs Union and India, which is also part of the IPSA framework, where we are moving step by step. We already have a preferential trade agreement with Mercosur. Now we are in the process of negotiating with India, and then the third stage is that there should be a higher level ambition trilateral arrangement between India, Brazil and Singapore. So that's where we are trying to move.
India and South Africa are natural partners. What we are talking is the PTA between India and SACU, the Southern African Customs Union. Both India and South Africa are keen that we take this for an early conclusion. It's not bilateral, it's with SACU. So that in the IPSA framework, we complete the trilateral. We have an agreement between India and Mercosur countries. And there is an agreement which SACU has with Mercosur countries. And this will greatly enhance the commerce, investments between the three continents of Asia, Africa and South Americas. Bilaterally, when you look at the investments that we have, India investments are over 6.5 billion. The figures which are given here, I must apologize, these figures are not right in our IBF folder. Maybe there is some communication gap there. And from South Africa, the investments are moving closer now towards 3 billion mark. The bilateral trade between South Africa and India has crossed $7.7 billion. We have set a target of 10 billion by 2012, but in the first quarter of this year, the trade has been $2.75 billion. If we continue with this trend for the remaining 3 quarters, the second quarter figures have not come. I was mentioning this to His Excellency President Zuma and Minister Rob Davis that we'll be able to achieve it this year. There have been a number of agreements which have been concluded, which President himself referred to. There are other agreements which we are presently talking about, which includes the bilateral investment protection and promotion agreement. And yes, later today, Dr. Rob Davis and me, we will be having our bilateral talks to revisit the priority areas of engagement which were identified during the historic visit of President Zuma to India in June, when he was accompanied by the largest ever business delegation to visit India from South Africa or from African continent. And I would like to add here that we also have a meeting this afternoon of the relaunched, revitalized CEOs Forum, co-chaired from Indian side by Mr. Ratan Tata and from South African side by Patrice Motsepe. These are CEOs forums which are endorsed fully by the government, serviced by the government, and both the ministers, me and Minister Rob Davis, will be present here. So we will be looking at how then to raise this engagement to a higher level, as has been referred to. Also explore the possibility of having a comprehensive economic cooperation agreement between South Africa and India. It should happen because we are also strategic partners.
I'm delighted to see our partnerships with India giving rise to stronger ties between our two countries. By working together, we can foster mutually beneficial relationships that will ensure that our people's prosperity increases during the 21st century.